Vanderbilt fortune was made by Cornelius Vanderbilt through shipping and railroads. Old money, like the Astors, who set the rules for the elite, snubbed them as new money. So they began a building war, first opera houses and later mansions. Generations of Vanderbilts would build mansions, each trying to outdo the other.
This magnificent home was built by George W. Vanderbilt III on 125,000 acres of woodland in North Carolina. His widow, Edith, sold approximately 85,000 acres back to the U.S. to form Pisgah National Forest. Biltmore is unique in a couple of ways. First, it's the largest home in America. And they don't measure this home by square foot, but in acres. Over 4 acres. Unlike other mansions of the Gilded Era that have either been torn down or sold for pennies on the dollar for tourist attractions, this one still remains in the family.
Don't get me wrong, Biltmore is definitely a tourist attraction. But thanks to George W. Vanderbilt's widow, Edith, it is still family owned. Let's go see the house. The entryway is an open rotunda of art and ferns, reminding the guests more of a tropical setting. The billiard room, with its masculine decor, was about what we've seen in other places, only double.
The banquet hall is going under some renovation right now, so we couldn't get good pictures. But we grabbed some off the internet so you could see it. And its incredible organ. I don't know about you, but I've never been comfortable with animal heads looking down on me, especially when I'm eating. The chairs from the dining room are setting outside until the renovation is complete.
The house had no air conditioning, and so in the summer it was really hot, and they set up fans in some of the rooms to make it more comfortable. The breakfast room is much smaller and cozier than the banquet hall. Here is where the Vanderbilts relaxed over breakfast and lunch. The salon was one of the 2 unfinished rooms when George died. It was finished by his daughter Cornelia and her husband John Cecil, according to architectural drawings and styles of that era. The rotunda from another angle.
The music room. The other unfinished room. So this room was never completed for 45 years in George Vanderbilt's life, but his grandson completed it using drawings of the original architect to know what they had planned. And when they were doing this, they actually found this mantelpiece in the stables and found it fit perfectly.
This is the magnificent view. The estate originally went all the way to the mountains. Now it's a national park, but he wanted to ensure that the beauty of the forest would remain untouched.
George personally collected these books. He started at the age of 12. It takes 2 stories to hold the 23,000 books. Above the black marble fireplace is a hidden door that leads to a passageway that will take you to the second floor living hall.
This room was built specifically to hold 3 large tapestries, They are from the Triumph of the Virtues, woven in Flounder between 1525 and 1535.
The center tapestry, the Triumph of Faith, is believed to be the only one still in existence.
The tapestries highlight stories from the Bible and from everyday life in the 1500s.
Here you can see the angel ascending Jacob's ladder, Noah's Ark, John the Baptist's head, and Paul extending the keys to heaven.
An upstairs sitting room holds portraits of Frederick Olmsted, who was the landscape architect for the Biltmore. And Richard Morris Hunt, who designed Biltmore House. It's unusual to see portraits of contracted people featured in such a beautiful home, but George Vanderbilt had so much respect for these two men. In this painting we see descendants of George Washington Vanderbilt III. It was painted in 1991, and I love that they are seated in front of a portrait of their ancestors. There's a diagram so you know who everyone is.
This portrait is that of William H. Vanderbilt and his family, including the four brothers involved in the building wars. William and his wife Edith, Frederick, who owned Vanderbilt Mansion, William and his sister Florence, William owned Marble House and Eagle's Nest, Cornelius II and his wife Alice, who owned the Breakers, and of course George, the owner of Biltmore.
Included in the shadows of this portrait are images of servants. Check out number 10 and 12.
The gallery holds some beautiful works of art. This is George's personal bedroom. This man had exquisite taste.
Rembrandt etchings. This is the upstairs private family living room. George's father, William, is hanging over the fireplace and his mother, Edith, over the other.
So many things were unique for the time period, but these couches and chairs have fold-down arms in case you need to place your drink somewhere, something not everybody did in the 20s. One of the things I love about the Biltmore is George III was a bachelor when he built it. Even so, he built it with his future wife in mind. How romantic is that?
This is the third floor living hall, where guests would wait for dinner. The Biltmore has over 35 bedrooms, 43 bathrooms, and 65 fireplaces. Here are just a few of them.
These etchings are made on tin, inked up, and then a cloth is placed over the etching to make a print. George Vanderbilt had hundreds of them made. This hallway leading to the basement looks like granite, but it's actually just a granite facing.
The last thing you would expect to find in a basement would be this, the Halloween room. Well, it was actually the place where the Cecils threw a New Year's Eve party in 1925. A neighbor wrote to a friend that this was the best party I've ever attended. In the middle of the room was an exhibit which showed how the house was built. Everyone knew it was something special.
Of course they had a bowling alley and an indoor pool, one of the first indoor pools ever built. And a gym, again, unusual for the time.
Every fine house has a place where the hunters gather and rest.
You exit the home out a back door that leads you to the livery stable, which is now shops and cafes. The stable courtyard is a really nice place to enjoy some light snacks in an outdoor setting, or a full meal in the stable cafe.
The Trustees Table restaurant serves dishes straight from the fields and is well booked in advance, as people in the area often come to the village just for dinner. Make reservations.
Biltmore is also a working farm. It has a dairy farm to supply its creamery, a vineyard which supplies its winery, and produce.
An interesting fact we learned is that when George died, Edith had to come up with a way to pay the bills, and the dairy business paid the bills. Antler Village is a shopping and dining area for guests and visitors on the grounds of the Biltmore, which serves the 3 hotels and conference centres there.
We had a lovely conversation with a gentleman there about the property's current and future plans. Now run by the Biltmore Trust, it is a profitable enterprise that can keep this beautiful piece of American history for generations to come.
Hey, thanks for watching. And if you like our videos, please press the subscribe button.